There's me, Stephen Thomas, with Reports on Housing with another housing debrief. And welcome. Nice and hot outside. We escaped the heat. We went camping at the beach and just got back early this morning. That's why I've got the scruff. So I'm still in camping mode. Still smell a little bit like campfire and s'mores and all that good stuff. So we had a real blast. We do it every single year. And it was another wonderful year. So welcome everybody. Another housing debrief. And I invite everybody to, you know what? Click that like button. Give us a thumbs up. The more people that do that and subscribe to our channels, the more that we get this good content in front of everybody so that they can make great decisions. That's what it's about. I got into this to help people properly set their expectations so they can make really good, sound decisions based upon what's really going on in the marketplace, not what everybody's talking about or what they think should the market should do, what their gut tells them. This is just real good, solid information. This week, foreclosures up over last year. And I'm not doing this as a scare tactic or anything because I hear plenty of it out there. There are a number of agents that I've talked to that flew out to a foreclosure convention. It's actually called asset management, but that's what they do. They go there to talk about foreclosures and how foreclosures are going to sweep the country. And they pile into classrooms and they talk about how everything is going to come to an end. It's going to be just like the Great Recession all over again. So it's not just people out there that are talking, regular folk that are talking about a foreclosure crisis and a housing crash, and it's going to be the Great Recession or worse than the Great Recession. It's actually people within the industry that are talking about it. So you know, I understand that. As a result, there's plenty of fear that's out there. There's a lot of people that are wondering, is this really going to happen? What's going to come of the housing market? What's going to come of my house? And is my housing value going to plummet like it did during the Great Recession? And everybody starts talking about it. And it's just, you know, people listen to YouTube videos like this, or just because they're dressed up in a suit and they talk about it over and over again does not mean that we're going to go into what we refer to as a giant downturn, a Great Recession, a bubble, a housing crash, a housing crisis. Just because they're wearing a suit does not make them an expert and a housing analyst. A lot of these people actually just do that for a living, and they're going to say everything they can negatively about the housing market, and they have been for years. So I just invite everybody to stop listening to everybody out there if they don't have the credentials to back it up, or if they've been talking about a housing crash for years. At what point do you say, you know what, this person just might not have what it takes to properly talk about the housing market? So instead, let's dive into all of the data. But first, I would like to thank our sponsor. Our sponsor is JJ Mazzo with the Mazzo Group. He's the executive vice president at Cross Country Mortgage. It's #1 retail lender nationwide. Scotsman Guide, nationally ranked top 200 mortgage originators. Over 25 years, plus over $2 billion in personal home loan funding. And JJ Mazzo knows his stuff. He's an incredible guy and has been doing this for quite some time, knows what he's doing, and a shrewd businessman, and knows exactly how to work with his clients. So they are the original, same as cash, $1,000 per day closing guarantee. And so they guarantee that they will close on time, or every single day. You get $1,000 per day. And they also have a deposit protection of up to $100,000. And you can contact JJ Mazzo and the Mazzo Group because to get more details on those programs. All loans are processed, underwritten, and funded in-house, allowing you to close in as little as 10 days, same as cash. So you can pretty much treat this as almost cash. You could talk about working with JJ Mazzo and the Mazzo Group and get your buyers' offers accepted. You can reach JJ Mazzo and the Mazzo Group at at 877-237-9694. That's 877-237-9694. And I'd like to thank you, JJ, for your sponsorship. But now back to the program. And yes, let's dive into the real data, not what everybody's saying about the foreclosures that are looming, that we're going to have. It's just a matter of time before there's going to be more distressed. And first, we need to peel back. Everybody originally talked about mortgage forbearance as this is going to be the what's going to start it all, the catalyst to all of the distressed properties. But not too many people are talking about forbearance anymore. Why aren't they talking about forbearance? Because the numbers don't support that theory that we're going to have a bunch of foreclosures because of everybody that went into forbearance. You know, they are right. A lot of people took advantage of forbearance. 487,000 people took advantage of forbearance. Excuse me, getting a little ahead of myself, because it's actually 8.4 million people took advantage of forbearance. 95% have exited. There's only 487,000 that are in forbearance right now as we speak. And it got over 4 million people that were active in forbearance at one time at the beginning of the pandemic, but that's not the case anymore. It's down to 487,000. And if you want to know out of all the people that came out, which is just a slew of people that have come out, there's like 8 million that have come out of forbearance. What happened to them? Well, according to a lot of people, they should have all ended up as distressed listings, but that just is not the case. As a matter of fact, the 8 million that exited, the ones that are out of forbearance and are actually performing. Why? Because they have low interest rates. They have a lot of equity in their properties. That's 53%. 4.2 million are actually performing. Now, the ones that paid off, which means that they probably paid off either A, by refinancing, or B, most likely, by selling their homes, that is 3 million. So between the two of them, you're looking at 91% of everybody is either paid off or are performing on their loan on a monthly basis. Now, the ones that are delinquent but are currently working with the workout unit, because that means they recently came out of forbearance, that's 218,000. They're trying to figure out, am I going to sell my house? What do I do with the amount can I pay it back in a lump sum, in some sort of monthly installment plan, or defer it to the end of the mortgage, which is what a lot of people end up doing. Now, that's 3%, 218,000. The ones that are actually delinquent it's 5%, 422,000. This is across the United States. Now, the ones that are removed and are currently in foreclosure, 96,000, 1%. So you could see the great number of everybody that exited forbearance are actually just fine, either paid it off or are working on a monthly basis. They're paying every single month and are current. Now, I like keeping current matters, refer to it as the unicorn years. The unicorn years are the ones in pink. And this only tells part of the story, because this tells you what the average was prior to COVID. 2017, 18, and 19 was actually 598,000. 2019 was a little bit lower, and the 2017, 18 a little bit higher. You can see 2019, 493,000. Now in 2020, remember, there was a forbearance, there was a moratorium on foreclosures, and a lot of people went into forbearance. So there was only 214,000 foreclosures in 2020 and 151,000 in 2021. Now, last year, 2022, 324,000. It didn't even make it to where we were prior in 2019 after turning on the lights for foreclosure actions once again. Now, I'm here to tell you that there are a lot of people that are in a pickle regardless of the housing market. Regardless of the housing market, we could have a year. We had the expansion years from 2013, or actually started in 2012, all the way through 2019 prior to COVID. And those years, you could actually see that that the number of distress were going down, but there were still some distressed properties. And you saw that in 2019. There was still a number of distress for the year. And the reason for that is because there are some people that get into a pickle. There could be medical problems, and or there could be a death, or there could be arguments over inheritance. There's a lot of reasons that we actually see foreclosures, and they continue on a monthly basis, but they're at really, really low numbers is what you need to understand. And as a matter of fact, you could see how low they are, again, according to Keeping Current Matters, which took Adam's research and created this beautiful chart. You can see where we're at today in 2023 through Q1 of 2023, and it's just really low, about 100,000 per quarter as far as the number of foreclosure actions. And you can see where we were prior to or during the Great Recession. It got as high as over 900,000 foreclosures per quarter. And you extrapolate that out, and that's over 3 million in a year. And you can see where we're at right now. We're at 100,000 per quarter. Extrapolate that out, that's only 400,000. And that's where it is right now today. And this is what you can sink your teeth into, the national delinquency rate. Very few people will bring this up. Why? Because it's positive news as far as the overall health and stability of the housing stock, all the houses across the United States. And that is the number of people that are actually delinquent on their homes is at decades low. It's bouncing around a really low amount. And this is through May, and actually March was the lowest that ever recorded since they were starting to record it, and it goes way, way back, even prior to the Great Recession. And right now it's still at a really low level through it's June of 2023. You can see it's just way, way down. So it is really, really low across the United States. Now I'm going to show you Southern California distressed homes, and that's short sales and foreclosures combined. And you can actually see right here, this is the number of foreclosures on the right-hand side where we are today in short sales. It is such a tiny level compared to where we were on the left-hand side. And this was actually 2012 when the volume of foreclosures and short sales was coming down significantly. Because if you go back up to where we were during in this chart, you could see in this chart in 2012, we're here towards the middle. It wasn't during the heyday of foreclosures and short sales that occurred around 2008 and 2009. So but let's dive in further to show you where we are right now in Southern California. Because I showed you the United States, and then now I'm showing you Southern California. In Southern California, this shows you, yes, it is up over last year. The yellowish orange line, that is last year. Today, it's at 126 short sales and foreclosures available today to show buyers in all of Southern California. Last year at this time, it was 106. That means year over year, right now, it's up 19% compared to that 106 at 126. Now, pre-COVID, the 3-year average was 615, which is 388% more, which that means it's almost 5 times higher than where we are today. It's higher than the 3-year average prior to COVID, 2017, 18, 19, is above that purple line. It's at 615. It's slightly above it where we are showing you right now today. And that's because it's a 3-year average, just not 2019. So it was a lot higher prior to COVID. And remember, this is even when things were normal, and we haven't even got up towards normal levels. And so you're wondering, why, Stephen? Why in the world don't we have more foreclosures? Why isn't there more short sales? Interest rates went way up. What's going on? Well, you know what? I'm here to tell you that looking at the nitty-gritty details of the numbers really explains a lot, but it's extremely boring. There's not a lot of people that will listen to it. There are not a lot of people that will look at it. We personally take a look at everything, and this is included. This is from Black Knight. You could actually see that in June that the U.S. loan delinquency rate was at 3.12%. That's loans 30 or more days past due. It's at 3.12%. It was month over month was up 0.55%, but year over year is actually down 2.8%. And that's the top line. And you can see the total U.S. foreclosures pre-sale inventory rates at 0.42%. That's down 2.51% month over month, or down 3.63%. Total U.S. foreclosure starts is at 28,000. That was up 10% in a month, but it's down 11% year over year. So the numbers aren't really going anywhere. And that's what this is what I'm trying to illustrate here. So just so you understand, we're looking at the nitty gritty numbers, and you just don't see it coming. There's going to be no wave of foreclosures. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a hard time even getting to where we were pre-pandemic. And so why in the world don't we see more foreclosures? If we peel that back even further, we see that we have been, the people that have been purchasing the mortgage originations by credit score. You can see on the right hand side, that light blue is everybody with 760 plus credit scores, and it is the lion's share of all of the mortgage originations. Now on the right hand side, it's still a lion's share, but we're doing far fewer mortgage originations because we're doing far fewer transactions, but still primarily the big lump sum is most of them have excellent credit. Versus on the left hand side, that was when we did ridiculous things. We had adjustable rate mortgages, we had teaser rates, we had pick a payment plan, we had subprime. People didn't really qualify. They did 100% financing. It was really ugly, and just about anybody could get a loan, and it fueled a lot of demand, unneeded demand for quite some time. So the credit profile of borrowers since we've gone into the expansion years of 2012 on have been really, really solid, and it's been solid for such a long time that pretty much everybody primarily has great credit scores. And then the number of ARMs that are out there, people say that there's a lot of people with adjustable rate mortgages, not in the United States. You can see where we are right now. And this is from Len Kiefer with Freddie Mac. And you can see where we are right now. It's below 10% of all loans are adjustable rate mortgages. And you have to qualify on these adjustable rate mortgages. If you could see those Himalayas, that was prior to the Great Recession, starting about in 2004 is when it got really ugly, where we had over 30% of all mortgages were actually adjustable rate mortgages. And a lot of them, they didn't really qualify because they qualified on the low rate that was going to adjust higher. And then when it recasted later on, when they couldn't afford their monthly payment, that just doesn't occur any longer. So that's not a piece of our marketplace. And also, the amount of equity across the United States that homeowners are sitting on is so high. It is unbelievable how much equity they currently have. This is also from Len Kiefer. You can see U.S. homeowner equity surges to over $30 trillion as the value of housing stock passes $43 trillion. It's just overall the housing stock is extremely, extremely strong. And the number of people that have interest rates that are really, really low across the United States. This is taken from the National Mortgage Database, and 81% of everybody across the United States that has a mortgage has an interest rate at 5% or lower. 61% have an interest rate at 4% or lower, and 23% have an interest rate at 3% or lower. And then if you drill down to California, which is where all my reports currently are, we're going to be hitting Arizona and Nevada shortly. But in California, 87% have an interest rate at 5% or lower, and 69% have an interest rate at 4% or lower, and 30% have an interest rate at 3% or lower. So it's an even stronger profile of the homeowner in California than the United States. So overall, the bottom line is that homeowners across the United States are sitting in these houses with good jobs. They have good credit. They have a load of equity, tons of equity, and they have low fixed rate mortgages that they don't want to trade in for something else. They don't want to go rent. They don't want to go sell and purchase something else because it just does not make sense. So we're not going to see this wave of foreclosures that everybody's going to talk about. It's not going to happen anytime soon. If I saw it in the numbers, even in the data that's leading up to it, we'll talk about it. But we just don't foresee it anytime soon. So people really shouldn't talk about it. We should throw away the idea of any kind of increase in foreclosures that's worth merit talking about. So if you want a copy of this, you need to be a subscriber to our housing report. I invite you to subscribe by going to reportsonhousing.com, and you can go there. And the most recent one that just came out Monday for LA, Orange County, San Diego County is called It's the Final Countdown. And what I'm talking about in the final countdown is that, you know what, we're running out of summer market. It's going to transition to the autumn market when things slow down a bit, and then we'll go to the holidays after that. that. And so it's the final countdown. You can subscribe, go to Reports on Housing, and utilize the coupon code HOT. Now, San Bernardino, Riverside, and the Bay Area get theirs next week. It's the final countdown. And I am proud of Brennan, who has been working hard on this. We are dropping a podcast. Actually, we're dropping it today. Our podcast is called Let's Talk Housing, and Brennan and I, we go back and forth. That's Brennan Thomas. Is actually my boy. He came to work with me after he graduated from Washington State University. Our son has joined the crew. And then the first one that we're out of the box of Let's Talk Housing podcast is the Housing Frenzy. And you can go anywhere where you want to listen to these podcasts. You know what? I'm not even as familiar as these millennials. They know exactly where to go. And so that's why Brennan took the bull by the horns, started this podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun to listen to. So I invite you to listen to the Housing Frenzy, our episode 1 Let's Talk Housing podcast. So thank you for joining us again. Have a fantastic finish to your week. We will see you next week. Thank you so much, and have an eventful weekend. Stay cool. It's hot out there. Maybe go to the beach where we were, and it was overcast all day long, every single day with little bits of sunshine. Anyways, enjoy the finish your week, and have a super weekend. We will see you on the other side.